Man, we got a couple of things to talk about today. We are going to be talking about Sheree Whitfield and what is going on with her and Tyrone and how these Real Housewives of Atlanta shenanigans is putting them on the outs and almost sent Tyrone back to the clink. We talking about that. We are talking about Andy is shading Dr. Wendy Acefo's receipts. And we also going to talk a little bit. We're going to do a little mini recap of the Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip Season 1, Episode 4, okay? They're taking us a little bit behind the scenes and opening up, and kind of breaking that fourth wall down. And then we got this major situation going on with Kenya Moore, breaking down yet again over MARC Daily. Let's go ahead and get into the thing. Wait a minute, James. I don't know if Sheree gonna have to return that mink coat or not, but we're gonna get into the thing in just 1 second. Listen, y'all. Happy Saturday. You know how we do it. It's a little bit of sneak peek Saturday mixed with a little bit of news, mixed with a little bit of recap. So we're about to have a good old time on this good Saturday afternoon. Thank you so much for joining in. I appreciate you. If you are watching and you are feeling a little jazzy in the chatterization and you want to let us know where you're watching from, we definitely appreciate knowing where our people are watching from. We got Simply Sharrell who says, "Hey, Richie, had to stop what I was doing in Florida to listen to you." Yes. Hey, what up, bro? That's my little bro right there. Just so y'all know, NYC is in the building. Arlington, I see you. Georgia, Cleveland. Hey, San Antonio, I see you, baby. Who else you got? London is in the house. Tennessee is in the house. Hey, happy Saturday, boo. Mansfield, Texas, Lafayette, Louisiana, Chicago, Kentucky, Philly is in the Philly. We about to talk about y'all, baby. We about to get into it. We about to get into it with y'all in this Sheree Whitfield situation. So listen, thank you guys for tuning in. Let's go ahead and get this jamboree started. We about to have a Ponderosa today. And like I said, we about to head on up to Philly, okay? So let's get into what we got to talk about with Sheree Whitfield and the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Almost, allegedly almost sending that good Mr. Tyrone back to the clink, okay? So I know y'all we talked about this scene right here where we said, obviously the cameras are rolling. Sheree is in Philly after she had then left New York City seeing Candace play. And we got her sitting here looking like a good little Cookie Lions, okay? And she got her martini. It's giving real Empire meets Sex in the City vibes. And I was here for this little scene right here. I was. So the word on the curb is that she was going to be waiting around to meet Mr. Tyrone, okay? Who she was, is, was. We're not necessarily sure no more. With, okay? That's her bae, prison bae, ex-prison bae, I guess I should say. And shout out to him doing the time and getting on up out of there, okay? However you feel about it. But here's the thing. This is what TMZ is reporting. They said that Real Housewives of Atlanta star Sheree Whitfield is on the outs with her boyfriend because the show almost put him back in the prison. Now, they're saying that they're not on speaking terms right now. Sources with direct knowledge tell TMZ that Sheree and Tyrone. Now, Tyrone is sentenced to home confinement. They're saying that they haven't spoke since November the 6th. This is where that incident occurred, I'm assuming where she was supposed to be filming. When apparently Sheree told Tyrone she was leaving NYC to go visit him in Philadelphia. Okay. Now, I assumed that maybe she was meeting somebody else that day when she was sitting out there in her mink and them boots and had her martini, okay? But now we know if the man is still on home confinement, how was she gonna meet him at the bar? How was they gonna have a ponderosa at the bar? Okay. So TMZ says, well, everything kind of was going down a couple of hours before they was set to meet. And apparently Sheree allegedly told Tyrone she would have the Real Housewives of Atlanta camera crew with her when she got to town. So then they were told that Sheree wanted him to come film a scene with her in a restaurant. Thus, we see her outside. But obviously, that would be a huge, we can't do that for Tyrone due to his home confinement. So they are saying that a judge would have put him back in the prison if he had gone down to that meeting because it would have violated his home confinement. So he had to pass on shooting, and apparently production told his attorneys they would simply edit the show to make it look like Tyrone stood her up, okay? Now, to me, let me hop back on the screen real quick. This is some crazy stuff right here, ain't it? This is some crazy stuff right here. Now, my thought about it is, Sheree, if the man is on home confinement, you might want to let him finish out that little time. You know what I'm saying? Y'all might want to just have some phone calls and then, girl, you put him on the speaker, okay? Maybe put him on the FaceTime and then show the camera, okay? And there we go. Tyrone is now on Real Housewives of Atlanta. Just FaceTime him. You know what I'm saying? Put him on the FaceTime and say, hey, babe, how you doing? I'm actually passing through Philadelphia. I'm going to have a drink. It's going to be me. I'm going to have a drink with you while I'm on the FaceTime with you so I can feel like I'm close to you, babe. How about that? That would seem a lot more reasonable than you sitting and shooting at the bar, down to the bar in your fur and your leather boots and your martini, knowing that this man ain't ever going to come. Okay, but we're going to have to see how it play out on the show because they could change things. You know what I'm saying? They could change things, you know, when it comes down to the wire and maybe not even show this scene, okay? Miss D Green says, we all know Sheree's light bulb. So if you watch, she's so silly. I like me some Sheree now. Thank you, Miss D Green. I appreciate you. So let's take it on back to what else they got to say because we not even we're not done yet, or we are not done yet. But I'm gonna put this photo back up on the screen because I, for some reason, gets my life watching Sheree in this big mink and sipping out this martini glass or this margarita glass or whatever it is. Again, it's giving real Empire meets Sarah Jessica Parker, okay? So anyway, now TMZ says to make matters even worse, the photo in question began making the rounds online, showing Sheree sitting at the bar in Philly, okay, outside, and they said eagle-eyed fans noticed two menus on the table, not to mention the camera crew, and assumed Tyrone was there shooting scenes. So the people was assuming that he was already out of the home confinement and shooting the scene with Sheree. Now, they're saying that although he wasn't there, he was worried about the optics with the courts because if people was thinking that he was there, then that might not look good for him in court. All right. Now, according to TMZ and a whole lot of other outlets that I actually know have reported this as well, when she returned to Real Housewives of Atlanta, she made it clear she wanted her relationship with Tyrone to be a big storyline. But now that could be derailed since the incident in Philly because they have not spoken and nobody has apologized. Now, TMZ has reached out to Bravo. I don't know why they thought Bravo would actually respond to any of this, because we all know that Bravo is definitely not going to respond about a story involving a character on the show that's currently filming because they don't want to give away no plot lines, and I don't blame them. Also, too, they could simply X out this scene or refer back to it because at the end of the day, Actually, you know what? I say just show it in real time. Show it like it actually happened. Girl, you made a big old mistake. You know this man can't film because he on home confinement. And then they need to show her working it out with him and apologizing because at the end of the day, that could have put him in jeopardy. Okay. Now, otherwise, it's giving real, I'm doing a little too much to be on TV. Okay. Otherwise, it's giving kind of that. And again, I like Sheree. You know what I'm saying? I don't really need Sheree to come back and toss around her relationship with Tyrone in order to make good TV. Sheree is usually good TV in and of herself. So we don't really need all that, right? So Chastity says, what in the federal home confinement is going on? Sheree must have lied to production saying Tyrone would be a part of the show. And that's my thing too. If we know this man is on home confinement, why would we think that it would be a good idea to show him on the show? Why not just go down the street, hire what's his name that was married to Phaedra? Somebody tell me his name. Apollo. Hire Apollo and Sheree or whatever her name is, Sheree, whatever it is. Hire them if you want to get a post-prison storyline. Okay. I mean, at least he's out. We familiar with him. Okay. We don't really know much about her, but she could possibly make good TV. I don't know. But in this situation, it's like it's a little tightrope you gotta walk if you're trying to really show the intricacies of the relationship on TV. But otherwise, all we can probably really hope for is really some phone calls and maybe some FaceTimes, because anything else could be in violation of what he is currently serving, which is a home confinement, according to the TMZ. Okay. Tanya asked me this: how you feel about Bravo staging it like he was when he wasn't even planning to come? My lips are twisted to the side and I'm side-eyeing the fake edits. What are we to believe? You know, that's a really good question. I mean, it does bring to life a couple of questions. You know, did they really expect for him to be there? I don't, as per the report from TMZ, they are stating that allegedly they will edit this to make it look as though he stood her up. And I think they really have to do some due diligence and really put their ear to the streets to understand that this is a story that's circulating right now. And you cannot pull the wool over our eyes, because we got eyes, we can see, and we understand a little bit about the law. We may not be lawyers, but we understand a little bit about what the term home confinement means. And so now we understand that home confinement does not mean that you are heading down to the bar. Okay. So yeah, my lips are a little twisted too, boo. My lips a little, you know what I'm saying? How long is the home confinement? That I don't know. But I'm pretty sure he's just trying to ride this thing out until until it's time for him to, you know, be free and do what he wants to do and move how he wants to. And at that point in time, Sheree can include him in her storyline. But for right now, I mean, the best I feel like she should hope for is a couple of phone calls or two and some references to maybe some plans to marry at some point. But who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Okay. They all up in it, baby. They all up in it. Story just broke earlier today. I'm trying to tell y'all. Right. I mean, or was there some desperation to cast somebody? I mean, I don't know. Again, to me, this might not have been the way to go for Sheree. Okay, not right now. But again, we still have to wait. I will give you that, guys, the disclaimer. We have to wait and see what the show gonna bring, because they could surprise us and give us something exciting. I just hope it's authentic and real. Okay. Chastity says, is he actually at his home or a halfway house? Why couldn't they film at his home? I don't really know. I mean, and this is where my law and order law degree ends. I think, because that's the extent to my law degree, and How to Get Away with Murder by Shonda Rhimes. Okay, that's the degree to which I understand law. Okay, and so because it ends there, I really don't know. But that's a good question. What? Why not just do this scene on the porch? What is she gonna do? Yell through the house, through the screen door? Good question though. Okay, so anyway, that's that. I have exhausted myself on that story, and I have no place else to go with it. I want to move on to okay. Real Housewives of Potomac sneak peek Saturday, y'all. Sneak peek Saturday. Okay. We all know the reunion is about to enter its climax this week, okay? And this week we will see Wendy bring out the receipts, okay? The receipts. And we already know that she is going to be bringing out the poster board with the text from Robin, where Robin first told her about the I was trying to see if I had a graphic, and I do, where Robin first told her about the articles that was written about her, as we see here. Okay, now she pulls out this giant poster board that she's had printed out, and for me, I was like, okay, that's a good way to visually display what you got to say. I'm fine with that. Okay, I could rock with that one. But there's a whole lot more to this scene that goes down. And there are some other receipts that she brings out from a folder that she had been kind of sitting on. You can tell the folder get kind of creased up a little bit. But she got some paperwork in there that consists of some phone records. So let me get down to how this scene plays out, okay? They are discussing rumors about their husbands on the show. Mia is confused about why Wendy would be upset about something false. And she says, Wendy, if it's false, then why are you so upset? Wendy answered, that's my husband's reputation. So Andy has a fan question, okay, that asks if Wendy thinks she's exempt from having her marriage talked about when everyone else has experienced the same. Now, we have talked about on this show it being a situation where Giselle has basically stated, husbands are on the table, okay? The husbands are definitely on the table to be talked about, scrutinized, and critiqued, given feedback on, ran through the mud, and all types of other shenanigans, right? So we do know that this is consistent with what we have seen on the show. So, Ashley, then she says, well, everything unfortunately is fair game, Wendy. Whether or not it's true or whatever the source is, if it's something that we feel is relevant to a conversation, I don't know why we would tiptoe around it or censor ourselves of what we say. Now, Ashley know, okay? Because Ashley's husband stay up in the news, all right? Now, listen, I would say that a lot of times Ashley's husband has been in the news for something that was visibly either displayed or some type of complaint was filed. There was some type of either tangible or semi-tangible evidence or conclusion that the general public had definitely came to, that we could actually see proof of, that she was in the news for, right? He was in the news for. So, Ashley, no, all right? So anyway, Wendy then says this was an issue for her because she says, my piece around this is that I feel like it was calculated because it was the same blog that said Giselle paid Jamal $100,000 to be her significant other last year. This is the same blog that said Giselle had an STD. The fact that she specifically targeted me and chose, I'm going to talk about this without saying on camera, well, this blog also talks about me, shows what you did was calculated. Okay. So then Giselle says, no, it shows that I was talking about social media. We're going to talk about this a little bit further. But a part of me, when we watch the whole scene play out, and you guys can definitely catch it on the Bravo Insider, I feel as though the some of the women, like, I do feel like some of the women are gaslighting Wendy just a little bit. Not even just a little bit. I do feel like they're gaslighting her because I feel like what they're doing is downplaying what is happening, right? You know, at the end of the story, at the end of the day, you know, what is in the news is in the news, right? But when you bring it to the show, you know that you will make it into a storyline. And Giselle knows that, Robin knows that, and Ashley knows it. So at the end of the day, yes, each of those ladies have been the subject of these types of instances, but it's also a known fact that when you bring it to the show, you are making it some type of storyline. And that is what Wendy is upset about. So to act as though you are not making it into a storyline is really truly gaslighting her, because what Wendy can see is actually true. So if you would just simply say, listen, as Ashley stated, if Giselle would simply say, listen, on this show, we will bring any and everything out that we feel like is relevant to your life and to make the story better. That is what we're going to do. Whether you feel like it's foul or not, that's what we do on this show. So if she were to say that, that would at least be real to me, because Wendy is not dumb and she knows exactly what game is being played. Wendy is just upset that they did it to her. Now, the fact of the matter is, if we want to get real about it, they did the same thing to Monique last season. Why Wendy thought that she would be, I don't know, like, not, why it wouldn't happen to her, I don't know. But at the end of last season, we saw they did the same thing to Monique, and now they are doing the same thing to Wendy. Okay? It ain't nothing different. It's just two different situations and two different people, but the concept is still the same. It is wash, rinse, and repeat with this group. And that's what it is. I'm just being honest. Like, if we're going to be, let's just call a thing a thing. It is what it is. So Wendy is upset that they did it to her. Bottom line. And I can't be mad at her, because I feel like, you know, she comes into a group. She probably figures that this is, you know, over here, this is the winning team right now. Oh, they are all banding together. The network got Giselle's back, you know, to a certain degree, you know, and she's fabulous, yada, yada, yada. You know, I'm going to have these people's backs, blah, blah, blah. I said it at the end of last season. I know for a fact that there were probably a lot of other media outlets and blogs that said the same thing. Wendy, they're going to do it to you. And what do you know? The very next season, it has been done to her. End of story. So anyway, I hated to have to go off on that little diatribe right there, but I had to. I mean, we have to be real about it. Deuce Esquire says protecting her husband may be a cultural thing for her. I don't blame Wendy. As for me and mine, I'm busting heads for mine. I mean, again, that's the reality of the situation. You know, nobody wants anybody dragging their spouse or they person that they with through the mud. We don't want that. So the natural response is what Wendy did. Again, but when it was happening to somebody else, she just couldn't see it. She can see it now. And I hate for her to even have to go through it. Leandra says gaslighting at its best. Same thing they did to Monique last season, changing the story and not remembering certain details. they know, shaking my head, they do know, Leandra, and then downplaying your reaction to something that was done to you. That's what that is. It's like everybody's like, oh girl, it's not that big of a deal. You taking the things too far. You being overly sensitive about it. If you did not know, for those of you guys who are listening, that is the definition of gaslighting. When someone tries to make you feel crazy for reacting to something that happened to you. Okay? That's gaslighting. So anyway, I digress. Well, I just had to say that. So anyway, Giselle has said it shows that I was talking about social media, like she said last year. This was the rumor I heard. This is what the streets had said. Anyway, so they talk about Wendy and Giselle talking on the phone before filming for season 6. And so Wendy wonders why Giselle didn't bring up the rumors to her when they had their conversation. So Giselle says to Wendy, well, you called me and we talked about a whole lot of things. Now, Giselle had actually mentioned this in an interview before, and I think it was with Bryce Sander, if you guys follow him on Instagram. And I think we talked about it. And so Wendy then says, that's not true. Okay. So I'm trying to figure out, well, Giselle says that Wendy wasn't angry when they spoke on the phone. So then Wendy pulls out copies of the phone receipts. Okay, so I guess you can go and get y'all remember how when you used to get your Sprint bill or whatever bill that you have your phone through in the mail, and it would tell you at the time, because I ain't seen one of these in a long time, and the bill would tell you all the calls you had. So sometimes when you would get that bill, I know for me, when it was Sprint, I was getting these bills and they would be pages and pages and pages of all the calls that you'd have made and whatnot, right? Ebony, I got this photo up so y'all can see the scene, and so you will know where to go find this when you want to go watch it. Now it's gonna be in the description in the in the video after I get done when I put the link up there. But I want you guys to visit. I like to show and tell. You know what I'm saying? So I'm telling you, but I'm also showing you the scene as it plays out. But I can't play the scene because it don't belong to me, if that makes any sense. Okay. Yes. Back in the day, okay, they would mail you your all the calls you done made. I wish I had some papers right now, but I ain't got no papers in my book bag. Okay. Deuce Esquire said these toxic women are jealous of anyone who may appear to be doing better than them. Okay. Thank you, boo. Sprint cut you off over a penny, but you got detailed billing. Absolutely. That was babe, don't get me started. Anyway, so as you guys can see in the photograph here, okay, Wendy has pulled out the detailed call log, okay? Julia says Wendy needed to bring Giselle to the carpet. She was wrong, point blank, and the period. Okay. Let me tell you something. It just gives me joy to do so. It gives me joy to do so. Okay. Like a scholar's receipts. Yes. The papers. Okay. So Wendy brings out the papers, okay, in the folder that she had been sitting on, okay. And she points out she pulls out the phone records. She says, I pull my phone records because you know I'm married to an attorney. I called you one time. We talked for 1 minute, so you are a liar. So then, so wait, I'm gonna fast forward it. Hold on. So she pointed at the phone receipts. She hands them to Andy. Okay, so she hands them to Andy. So Andy, yes, follow my boo's last page, y'all. Get your lashes on. So Andy says he takes the photo, the papers from her, and he says, I don't think this matters. And he says, I gotta tell you something. We went from the binder to this loose leaf folder. This is a fall. Oh God. um listen, I disagree with him. I would say this. I disagree if Wendy had the wherewithal to know that Giselle was going to come with that. I feel like she was justified in bringing the phone record to show they only talked for 1 minute. Now, why they only talked for 1 minute, I don't know. But I think where she failed at was the execution of the phone record. Now, she might have needed to made a poster board of the phone record, okay? But I think because it was in loose leaf format from the bent up folder that she had been sitting on, that really caused the presentation of this to sort of fall, okay? Debbie says, I watched it and it was shameful to see how Wendy's facts were dismissed. Andy played along, just sad. Giselle mentioned the rumor 3 times on Real Housewives of Potomac. What kind of conversation can you have in 1 minute? And I agree with you wholeheartedly, Miss Debbie. I do. Because again, I state that if I do believe what Wendy was saying. I do believe that she is the more trustworthy party in this whole equation. I do believe, and you will see Robin, what Robin does. Robin pretends to not realize what Wendy was talking about. And that is how Robin tries to absolve herself from this whole conversation. But it honestly is a classic case of let me gaslight you, girl, and it's going to be 3 of us gaslighting you. And then Andy, I don't really think that he's too clued in to really and this is another example of that he was not too clued in to what was really happening with the show to understand that you are correct, Debbie. This was mentioned 3 full times on the show. And so it was interesting, but I just thought it was terrible how he just shaded her receipts. It was terrible. She had been sitting there holding them receipts and she was just sitting on ready. Now, she probably should have kept the folder off to the side and then pulled it up like so, because I think anytime you sit back on something like that, you know what I mean? The folder is going to crease. It's going to crease. That's what it does. So that's that. Thank you so much, Ashley, for that super chat. If I was talking about the well, to be fair, Robin is like Giselle's Robin. If Giselle were Batman, then Robin would be Robin. Okay, so we do have that right there. But it was just like, you know what? Tish P says Wendy proves she isn't good at paperwork presentations with her paragraph business presentation to Eddie. Oh God, thank you for that super chat. Okay. So that's that, y'all. Now, we're gonna have to wait till tomorrow to see how it really all plays out and to get a glimpse, just a teeny weeny glimpse of Nicki Minaj down to the reunion. Okay. I promise you, Nicki ain't gonna be there but that last 3 minutes. I promise you. Now, unless they pull the whammy on me, okay. But in my mind, I know that's what you saving part 4 for. And I'm okay with it because this reunion has been lit, okay? It's been all the way lit. And I'm not mad at it, unlike Beverly Hills, okay? Yeah, I got the tattoo. I got it right here. I'm gonna get one on my whole hand right here just as soon as as soon as Thanksgiving is over, I think. But that thing hurt. Let me tell y'all the truth. Ooh, woo, woo. Oh, Charlene says, Dear Wendy, the binder didn't work and neither did your folder. Try something new, boo. Thank you, Charlene. Okay. So real quick, we want to talk about Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip for those who are interested. Chime down in the chatterization if you happen to catch Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip Season 1, Episode 4. I'm not going to go too far into the weeds with this one this week, but what I will say is we will definitely pick this up. Hold on. Well, Robin wasn't needed in most of the Batman movies for them to be great. Ooh. Robin should be demoted. She's not bringing much anymore. Yeah, honestly, we haven't even had a Robin package yet. I mean, is Andy waiting until the husbands come out there when Robin's partner is not there to actually have that conversation? Because I want to know, what happened when he tried to close her fingers in the door? I mean, I know he didn't try to do that, but I'm saying, like, what happened that when she was running after the car? Well, she wasn't really running after the car, but, he left in the car and he had almost snatched her fingers up because he was trying to roll off so fast. I want to know what happened. That's a good point. You're right. Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip. Did you see it? Just chime in and give me a yes or a no for episode 4. Okay? Because if you did, I'm gonna tell you what happened. And if you didn't, I'm still gonna tell you what happened. Okay? No. Let me give you the highlights then. Okay. Oh, Miss G Carter, you saw it. Yes. Come on. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Yes. I see some yeses up in here. Young, rich, skinny. Yes. Use those sugar daddies accounts. Okay. Use them. And don't abuse them. Okay. We're gonna go through some highlights of the episode. I'm gonna give this episode a solid 8.5. Let me know what you would rate this episode down in the chatterization. It came out of nowhere. We weren't supposed to get episode 4 until I believe like the following week or next week, but maybe they chose to move it up because next week is Thanksgiving, so maybe that's the reason why. And I don't know if the episode will come out, but we will definitely see. So for me, it was 8.5. And honestly, I think the best parts of this episode with them kind of going like breaking the fourth wall and kind of going behind the scenes and really talking about what it means to them to be a housewife in certain situations that we've seen on the show and their reactions to those situations as well. It's really the morning of day 4. Okay. So we get a couple of interesting conversations. Luann, Cynthia, and Teresa are all having lunch together, and we learned that Luann has a Latin lover. Now, what's interesting about this whole situation with Luann having a Latin lover is that Luann is flirting big time with Michael, the concierge at the house, but Michael is married, and Luann is flirting with him right in front of his mama. It is very strange. It's a strange situation. But anyway, they end up talking about housewives doing Broadway or whatnot. And Teresa asks Cynthia if she is still cool with Nene. And she says, no, they are not talking. And she is completely fine with it. She talks about having to survive Nene. And now she's feeling like she might have to survive Kenya too. Now, to note, this was definitely before Greg's passing. So we know that they are in a slightly different place now, although I don't know that it's much better, but it is in a slightly different place. Okay. Teresa equates Cynthia and Nene to her and Jacqueline. And she says that she would not have hurt Jacqueline the way that Jacqueline hurt her because Jacqueline kept bringing up Teresa's financial issues on the show when she knew that Teresa could not talk about them. So Kyle says that the issue with reality TV friendships is that some of the women care more about what the audience thinks than what their friends think. And she asked Kyle if she would do to Erica what Jacqueline did to her. And Kyle is like, well, we would ask her questions that would allow her to explain herself because Erica's stuff was in the news. So basically, yes, she would. Okay. Luann brings up the fact that it was Bethany who planned bringing a photo of Luann's then husband kissing another woman at a hotel to her on the show. And she says, while she is grateful to have found out that Tom was cheating, that she felt like Bethany masterminded this whole scene and this whole situation to get to get ratings for a TV show. And she feels like that was low down and dirty. And you know what's funny? It was Ramona and I think Carol actually detailed this in that book, Not All Diamonds and Rose, which I now have on order from Amazon. If you have been looking for that book on hard copy, you can now get it on Amazon and they will send it to you the next day. So mine should be arriving today or tomorrow. Okay. So anyway, my thought about that whole situation was they were like, yeah, in the book, they were like, oh, yeah. And she staged that whole scene where she was seen drinking that skinny girl vodka out of the bottle because she was so distraught about having to give Luann this news. But lo and behold, she was the one who allegedly set somebody up in the hotel to follow this man and then take a photo with him when he started kissing the lady and then send it to her so she could confront Luann on camera. I was like, oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. It's Melissa's day. They go out for a buggy tour or whatever. They're riding around in these buggies. Kenya in the car she's with Kyle, Teresa, and Melissa. And Kyle is raving about how much she loves Kenya. And Kenya talks about how certain people on her show make her out to be a villain. And then she talks about how happy she was that Kyle stood her ground when she was kicked out of Lisa Vanderpump's house. Goodbye, Kyle. Here's my thought about that whole situation. Kenya is usually the person who is making herself look like the villain. We can argue. But it's the truth. It's the truth. I mean, a lot of times, you will see Kenya doing the antics and whatnot, and I don't mind it. I don't mind it unless it goes too long, i.e. the Bolo situation. Because otherwise, she's giving us something to watch, right? But I don't like it that she's sort of upset about this idea that she is the villain when she plays that role so well. Like, don't be upset about it. That's what you are paid to do, clearly. And you do it well. So let's not even, let's not pretend here. Let's not pretend. Do not take this to mean that I don't like Kenya more, because I know that's what somebody is going to inevitably take it. If you choose to do so, you are doing so on your own, because I actually like Kenya more. I just think that I want to see more authentic Kenya more of her real life. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like she's interesting to me. But anyway, I digress. They end up playing a game when they're at the table about the good and the bad and the ugly of housewives. Now, I will say, I'm not going to go through what everybody said, but what I will say is that it was interesting to me that Kenya says, Kenya's question is, how have you been affected by the comments on social media? And she says her first season was the hardest and she rarely posts anymore because she feels like social media is the devil. Now, what I will say, did I say Nene? I meant Kenya. I'm sorry. If I said Nene, that was wrong. I meant Kenya. Kenya says she rarely posts on social media because she feels like social media is the devil, and she hates how there were lies planted about how she paid Walter to date her. Now, it was revealed in a flashback that it was Walter who said that he was paid by her at that reunion that season. And I did not remember that it was Walter that was allegedly at the center of this. I thought it was just somebody else that had made this up, from the streets. So that was very interesting. And it goes into something else that I would say a lot of times about Kenya is that I feel like she doesn't do that much responding to social media stuff with regards to the show. Like she will here and there, but you don't see it done a lot. I would equate her somewhat to a Giselle, but I think that Giselle is even better at the social media thing than even Kenya because Giselle clearly pays no mind to what anybody says, and Giselle lives in Giselle's own little world, which I feel like is either delusion or smart. I mean, it's one of the two. One or the two. Ramona and Kyle hung out by the pool with Ramona naked again. It's time for the ladies to play. It's time for the sleepover event. It's like a little pajama jammy jam. But they can't even get the game started because Kenya is in her room crying. When Kyle goes to take her some caftans, okay, because you know Kyle loves a caftan. And for a lot of guys, you may not know what a caftan is, okay? I don't really know the exact definition of what a caftan is, but I just know Kyle wears them all the time. Cynthia wears them all the time. They look like muumuus, okay? And I feel like it's probably something that's really perfect for the beach for women. You know what I'm saying? And maybe even men too, if you wants to wear it, if that's your style preference. I'm here for whatever you want to wear. But at the end of the day, Kyle was taking them caftans because again, Kyle in the caftan is basically that's all she wears. She takes some up to Kenya's room, okay? And Kenya is crying. Now, Kyle has the good sense enough to know cameras, no, you stay back here, okay? And she closes the door, and Kenya is upset because apparently she's crying over MARC. We only get the audio. Apparently, MARC says something like, "Oh, those hopeful people," in reference to the two of them when they first started dating, like, "Oh, those dumb hopeful people thinking they're gonna get married and live happily ever after." And then he's kind of like, well, look at us now. And then apparently he texted her also and said, "Oh, I forgot to tell you, I'm sorry for any pain I've caused you." For whatever reason, this causes Kenya to break down something serious. And I don't know. And you guys can help me with this. Okay. Now, I think we have all had all types of relationships, right? We have had the good and we have had the bad and we have had the ugly. This relationship seems a little bit more on the bad, leaning towards ugly side in reference to how these two people have treated each other. Now, obviously, the good in this relationship is the fact that they had a baby she has turned out beautiful and healthy. But the bad is that these two people are just two people that just don't need to be together. So to me, because this whole divorce situation has seemingly been going on for the past 2 years, it baffles me that she is still, and I get it, and you guys let me know if I'm being insensitive. Let me know, please. But in general, to me, when I've had a breakup, and again, I've never had a divorce, I don't ever want to have a divorce, so I know that the impact of this could be much different because divorces can seem to last for a very long time, as in this divorce. But at the end of the day, I don't understand at this point in time why she hasn't put up some type of mental guard with this man so that nothing he says or does affects or surprises her. It seems as though she is still teetering on, loving this man and not really seeing him for exactly who he is. And I felt like if she stepped away from this situation and she really saw this man for the awful things that, that's going on between them, that she would see who he is, what he is, how he is, and actually put up some type of mental guard or defense so that she is not mentally affected by anything that he says or does. Now, granted, she might be affected by things that he does in reference to how it impacts, whether or not he's trying to keep the baby from filming or not. That might be something to cry over because it may be frustration. But when he's talking about stuff that relates to them in their past, I don't understand why she's still affected by this. It's been 2 years at this point, 2 years. And even within that 2 years, and you can add a half a year for the time period that we know that there was issues, that because we saw it on camera and him talking to her all kinds of crazy, why would she still be in this state where she is mentally affected by the little things that this man is saying to her? I don't understand it. I don't get it. Misty Green says Mark is a whole mind cluck. Thank you, boo. Thank you for respecting the platform. Appreciate you. But you're right. I mean, it's literally, a complete and utter mind cluck. It is. And when you finally realize, and I don't know how many of you guys have ever dated a narcissist, a sociopath. I know they can be hard to determine what they are, but they might exhibit those tendencies. And then when you finally pull the wool off of that situation and realize exactly what you was dealing with, you put up that mental guard so that nothing that they said or did could affect you anymore. And the only reason I'm saying it is because I've been there. Okay. So for me, I don't understand why she still hasn't realized that she's in the middle of being mind clucked. Okay. Toya says, well, Kenya has an issue with receiving unconditional love from her mother. Love may be something she goes hard for considering the lack she received. I mean, that's a good point though, Toya. I feel you, but it's just at a certain point, you got to say enough is enough. Enough is enough. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes the spirit just hits me and I just go. You know what I'm saying? I just go. Especially when I'm talking about stuff like this, only because I can relate to it. I've been through it. And when you've been through something like this, you feel passionately about it. So that's why it's just like, come on, girl. Like we gotta get you out of this situation because this is not good. This is not good at all. So anyway, the real tea though is as Cynthia is making her way down to her room. Now, this is what I think happened because Cynthia is still trying to button her blouse for her pajamas. It was almost as though production said, Cynthia, Kenya's in the room crying. We need you to go down to the room and figure out what's going on. Cynthia is like, ooh, I'm not dressed yet. But they was like, well, get down here before it ends because she's talking to Kyle and you need to be there. And it felt like she said, well, okay, well, let me pull it together real quick. So she goes and opens the door as Kenya's crying and she's saying, I don't want cameras in here. So Cynthia then has to close the door and Kenya is rolling her eyes and she basically says, I don't understand why Cynthia would bring these cameras up in here when I'm having this moment and the door is closed. Interesting. Okay, interesting. Cynthia and Kyle recap what happened with Kenya and Mark as they're heading downstairs. And Cynthia basically tells Kyle that she feels like Mark is a good guy. They don't get along. MJ says no one wants to think that the father of their child regrets their relationship. I get that no one wants to think that, but I feel like she's had a lot of time to process that. A lot of time. Now, I can't put no time limit on how somebody grieves and mourns a relationship, so I get it. But what I do think is that she does need to have a mental defense against his shenanigans. And it's been long enough for her to see it. Anyway, the ladies head downstairs. They start playing games. They play a game of Twister, but when you play in Twister, you got to bend over, touch your toes, twerk a little something, and grab a shot with your mouth as you bent over, and then drink the shot on your way back up. Now, everybody tries to do it or whatever, but it's Luann that does it best, okay? Because Luann has Michael, the married concierge, come over and tell her, you have to bend over and get the shot out of my mouth, okay? And then, then you'll win, okay? So what this man does, married Michael, the concierge, mind you, whose mama is in the next room, lays on the floor. Luann squats down on him like this, okay? Luann squats down on him like this. Now, then She bends herself over, okay? She bends herself over as he is sitting laid up like this. She bouncing. He laid back, okay? Shot in the mouth. She opens up her mouth like so, takes the shot out of his mouth, guzzled it, bounces some more, okay? And then reaches down and kisses him. She kisses married Michael on the lips. I said, you know what? Where's his wife at? What's she gonna do when she see this? They got an open marriage? Because Luann is definitely in an open relationship. Okay. I said, you know what? And that's why you see, now when I talk to you guys about Real Housewives in New York, that's the real New York right there. These women, when they goes on their vacation, they naked, they running around naked, they're bringing men's back to the house. This is Bolo times 10, okay? Bolo was new for Atlanta, but it definitely won't nothing new for Real Housewives in New York. If you know, you know, okay? I got to give y'all visuals because some of y'all wasn't there to see it. So I want you to know what happened, okay? So anyway, she gets off of him. She bounces away. And they end up playing another game with sushi and dental guards in their mouth. Now, the dental guard keeps your mouth wide open, you know, while the dentist is up in there tweaking and tearing up your mouth. And they gotta say something, and you gotta guess what they're saying. So Kenya does it. Then it's Ramona's turn, but Ramona can't get the words out because she's too busy laughing. But then she pee her pants. Okay, so she pees her pants. She has to run off. Kyle gets up, pees her pants as well. What in the world? What in the world? They play another game, and then it's Housewives After Dark, and that's pretty much it. Honestly, Housewives After Dark should have been Luann bouncing on married Michael, and that would have been Housewives After Dark for me because it was looking real skin to max. Okay, real skin to max. It was real skin to max. So listen, y'all. That's all the news we got for y'all today. We are gonna be back with y'all tomorrow. We're gonna talk tomorrow about, and y'all know I had to make sure that we didn't get gooped like we did last week. Y'all know how gooped we was last week when we tried to turn on Love and Marriage Huntsville at 9 p.m. on a Saturday night. It's already bad enough that it come on Saturday nights. That's number one. Y'all couldn't give me a Thursday, a Tuesday when ain't nothing really going on. You got to give me Saturday night. And so I turn on my TV on Saturday night, and the first thing I see, I'm like, now wait a minute. I've seen this before, but on the DVR, it say new, and it say episode 17 of season 3. So you lied to me. You lied to me on and Oprah. All of y'all lied to me. Okay. So I'm sitting there looking, trying to figure out what's going on. And I was like, no, wait a minute. This ain't no real. This is not the show.
It was all a lie. Guys, it was all a lie. She lied.
They lied to us. But luckily, I done seen it all over the social media that tonight is a real new episode. Now, I'm assuming they're going to call this episode 18, but I tell you, they better not do that no more. Not one more again, or I'm going to go off. And I don't know who it's going to matter to, but I will. I will go off. Anyway, y'all, that's all we got for y'all today. All right? I'm about to go and get me something to eat. Y'all make sure y'all enjoy y'all Saturday. Stay uplifted. Y'all know what I'm saying? Be safe out there. Y'all know I love y'all. I'm so glad y'all stuck around to have this conversation today. And with that being said, I will catch y'all in the next video.